Hi everyone, welcome back to WesKnows Tech News and Reviews. Today we'll be doing a comparison of the Redmi Band 2 as well as the Huawei Band 8. So these two trackers have very similar form factors. In fact, they've been out since around the same time. There's a difference of about 5 months between the two of them. Both of them are very budget priced trackers. So the Redmi only cost me 25 bucks. The Huawei Band 8 cost me slightly more, just over 35 bucks. Still, very close, very budget. Let's have a look at which of these trackers actually fits your needs most. There's quite a lot of similarities, but there are some key differences which I want to point out in this video. So without further ado, let's get into the review and comparison of these two trackers. Let's do it. Firstly, we'll talk about the designs of these two trackers, then we'll talk about their displays, and then the features and functions. So if we look at the designs, let's kick off with the Redmi Band 2. So here, again, the design is simplistic and it takes us back to the old Xiaomi trackers, if you recall the trackers from a number of years ago. So what we see here is, you see it slips out of its case. So you get a TPU rubber strap, nice and simple, and then you get this detachable pellet-like watch case. It's plastic, yes, it's light, it's feather light, and you can buy these very cheap straps, and there are a lot of third-party sellers of these straps in any color really. So that's pretty much it. If we talk about the actual strap, it's a very simple, you sort of tuck it in and then you clip it in. I don't like these trackers because, again, taking them off, no issue whatsoever. But when you need to put them on quickly, that's where it gets a bit hairy, because then you might get in the wrong spot. It might be a bit loose, especially if you're going in after a workout and you're trying to put the tracker back on. Now, if we talk about the Huawei, well, here it's the more traditional form factor. So you get a very budget case finish. It's plastic, nothing to write home about here. But the actual strap is a watch type clasp. So there is a classic or a standard buckle on here. Quality of the straps is very similar. So TPU rubber, they're nice and soft, they hug around your wrist, there's no irritation left whatsoever. They're good quality straps. You get a lot of breathability simply because they're rather thin. There's plenty of holes throughout the whole strap, so to create that ventilation. But again, if we talk about comfort and the ease of putting on and off, the Huawei wins hands down. Again, considering we are talking about the design, the Redmi, as you can see, has no button on the side. It's only a touch activated display, while the Huawei Band 8 actually gets a button on the side. So it's a touch activated display and it's supported by push button action, and that is a great big win. So design definitely goes to the Huawei. Display is also quite an interesting topic with these two trackers. When you look at these two displays, they look very similar in size, and that is because they're both 1.47 inches in size. That is quite significant. Well, before the Redmi Watch Active 3 came aboard, but with these two trackers, similar sizes. Now, the Redmi Band 2 uses a TFT LCD display. That's not too good. The resolution here is not amazing. It's around the 260 pixels per inch. With the Huawei Band 8, we get an AMOLED display. Now, this AMOLED panel has been with us since 2020, since the Huawei Band 6 came along. Now, I think that it's prime time that Huawei did something about it and moved on to a bigger and better panel. But even if they didn't, still 1.47 inch AMOLED versus 1.47 inch LCD, it wins hands down. Also, the resolution is actually higher on the AMOLED. It's 282 pixels per inch on the Huawei. Now, if we talk about display features, well, there is no auto brightness on either of these two trackers. There's a gauge that you move up and down. In regards to brightness, the Huawei Band 8 is brighter. There are 550 nits of brightness. I couldn't find the exact numbers for the Redmi Band 2, but it does feel around the 400 nit region. It just doesn't light up. There's no bling to the colors. But that is, of course, due not to just the brightness, but also the fact that it uses a lower quality LCD panel, because the Redmi Watch Active 3, which is not on this comparison, also uses an LCD panel, but there the colors like pop off the display. Here they're quite dull, so it's a lower quality panel. There is always on display on the Huawei Band 8. There's no AOD on the Band 2. When we actually use the user interface, considering we have a button to support us on the Huawei Band 8, it's easier to get around the watch than on the Redmi Band 2. Another thing I've noticed on the Redmi Band 2 is that when you go into the widgets, scrolling through them is quite tough. It's so sensitive that while you're scrolling, the tracker thinks that you have actually pressed down on a particular widget and it takes you there. So again, it's quite inconvenient to use and it happens all the time. Now, considering these are fitness trackers and you will get most likely a bit of sweat on yourself or on your hands, right? Or when it's even when it's raining, right? You get wet hands, you get a wet face. Operating a touch activated display only gets complicated and a bit cumbersome. So having that button functionality on the side really does help quite a bit. Anyways, if we talk about the displays, definitive winner is the Huawei Band 8. Now let's talk about the features and functions. Maybe the Band 2 has some kind of chance here. Maybe not. Let's find out. If we talk about the fitness tracking capability, firstly, let's touch upon sensors. So both trackers can continuously monitor your heart rate. They can continuously monitor your SpO2, aka blood oxygen saturation levels. They can monitor your stress levels. So far, so good. Now, let's talk about the more complicated features, such as sport modes. Well, with the Huawei Band 8, you get 100 goal-based sport modes. With the Redmi, you get 30 goal-based sport modes. Now, goal-based is good enough, right? And 30 sport modes is also good enough. That's plenty of sport modes. Do you really need 100? Probably not. But 100 is more than 30. So even statistics alone tell us that Huawei has a bit more functionality in that regard. Goal-based workouts mean that there's a particular goal that you can set for particular activities. For running, for example, you can set the calories burnt goal or the distance goal or a time goal. But that's where Redmi functionality stops. Huawei doesn't stop there. It has a lot of advanced fitness features, such as the running ability index, your performance indicator. It talks about your training stress. It talks about your training load, so aerobic and anaerobic load. It provides you with the recovery times. So it is much more advanced in the fitness tracking space. Also, if we talk about sleep, I like to talk about sleep. Particularly these two trackers actually do monitor your light, deep and REM sleep. They also monitor your naps as long as they're over 20 minutes long. But the true sleep technology on the Huawei has been developed with a very credible institution, the Harvard Medical School. Redmi just doesn't have that cred. I'm not saying it's wrong or bad, I'm just saying that Huawei does get a lot of credibility here. Also, considering that we're talking about using two apps, either the Huawei Health app or the Xiaomi Mi Wear app, I prefer the Huawei Health app. It's got training plans available to you. If you want to get into running, into fitness, if you want to participate in some challenges and have a community to do it with, then the Huawei Health app is right for you. It's got there. And make sure to watch my review and walk through the Huawei Health app. I'll leave a link to it at the end of the video, and there should be one just above me right now. So in regards to these two trackers, I think on every single front, the Huawei Band 8 basically wipes the floor with the Band 2. Why would I be getting the Band 2? Because it's cheaper? Yeah, but 25 bucks, 35 bucks, I think, yeah, 30% difference, it's there, agreed, granted. But again, it's got no button. It's only a touch activated display. There's less sport modes, there's less fitness functionality. And of course, the display quality is lower quality. So I would say try and fork out those extra 10 bucks and do get the Huawei Band 8. Now, I will be leaving links to the listings I got these watches from in the description below the video, because I do get my trackers from AliExpress. I'm an affiliate there. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help the channel grow. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the review, please drop me a like. If you want to see more of the same, you know what to do. Please hit the red subscribe button below the video, and I'll see you in the next one.